And now to some breaking news tonight that I alluded to before Edward's report. This statement from the White House, which was delivered in 4 tweets from President Trump's account. Here they are, all 4. Follow along. President Donald J. Trump feels strongly that North Korea is under tremendous pressure from China because of our major trade disputes with the Chinese government. At the same time, we also know that China is providing North Korea with considerable aid, including money, fuel, fertilizer, and various other commodities. This is not helpful. Nonetheless, the president believes that his relationship with Kim Jong-un is a very good and warm one, and there's no reason at this time to be spending large amounts of money on joint U.S.-South Korea war games. Besides, the president can instantly start the joint exercises again with South Korea and Japan if he so chooses. If he does, they will be far bigger than ever before. As for the U.S.-China trade disputes and other differences, they will be resolved in time by President Trump and China's great President Xi Jinping. Their relationship and bond remain very strong. All right, end of statement. Let's bring our panel in. Bill McGirt is here tonight, Wall Street Journal editorial board member, and so is Capri Cafaro, former Ohio State Senate Minority Leader and Washington Examiner contributor. Thanks to both of you for coming on. Bill, let me start with you. You're here in studio with me in New York. The president's statement, or the White House statement, which I assume was dictated by the president, given the way it was worded there tonight, says a couple of interesting things. That there had been speculation these war games might be back on. I guess they are not. U.S. and South Korea. It also talks about the U.S. resolving the China dispute face to face. Trump and Xi. What do you think?
Right. Well, look, I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
Mike Pompeo, when he was heading the CIA, said the North Koreans were just a handful of months away from getting the capacity to strike us with a nuclear weapon. The president said that won't happen, can't be tolerated. All this stuff, it matters to me whether we hit that bottom line or not. And we're going to find out sooner or later whether they are serious and are going to disarm or not. That, to me, that's the only thing that matters.
Well, they had been moving in a direction, not the best direction, right? From the
right. We don't. Right. And look, I could make an argument for the war games continuing to send them a message. I could make an argument for suspending them as a gesture of goodwill. Yeah. But at the end of the day, none of this matters. What matters is whether North Korea gets this capacity to strike us with a nuclear weapon. And if it does, it changes the entire game in Asia.
Of course. And what do you think, Capri, about how all of this works together with trade, as the president says himself, a big component of it? But Bill rightly says that none of those little things, so to speak, really do matter. What's your view?
Well, I think all of those little things actually add up to something big. And what we're seeing, I think, in these 4 tweets coming out from President Trump or from the White House is that it seems as if President Trump, and this is not new for him, is trying to negotiate or at least send signals in the public domain and on 2 fronts. One, basically, putting a shot across the bow in regards to our dealings with China and trade and, basically how he is unhappy with how things are unfolding there. Right. And then at the same time also saying, well, things are good with you, North Korea, but if you mess with me in an instant, I will bring, these war games back and they'll be bigger and better than ever.
Worse
so
than
I
ever
think
before,
he's sending these messages to both parties publicly, and I think, in Trump fashion, keeping people on an uneven keel and uncertain on what the next move is going to be.
Well, we're trying to follow along with these moves, especially on trade and succession, and seeing whether they all kind of make sense. Doing something with Mexico, trying to get Canada involved, moving on to Europe, and then eventually to China, which is why I thought it was interesting to see these tweets tonight. On the perspective of Canada, which Edward was talking about a little bit, let's listen to the Foreign Minister, Chrystia Freeland, who was in Washington today, talking about some of the progress that was made, and then we'll talk about it. Here she is.
We are working extremely hard, extremely intensely, and we continue to be optimistic about the progress that we can make this week.
So just generalities there, Bill, that they're working hard. We know this, but it was the question about how the president set this up, the Mexico deal leading to the Canada deal onto Europe and China.
Look,
what have you made of that?
I think the good news is people thought the president might blow up NAFTA, and it looks like NAFTA is not going to be blown up. Whether he gets a deal through Congress in time is another question. So I think the markets are happy because they anticipated a lot worse. That said, I'm an regenerate free trader.
Yes.
I don't like the managed trade parts of this deal, you know,
Can I
about
ask you
the
a very
content.
simple question
Yeah.
about it? Is this deal better? Is the new NAFTA, for lack of a better name, I know the president has his own name, is new NAFTA better than
I think
NAFTA?
you can make a case it's not better, especially on these parts to manage trade. It's also a very confusing signal in Europe where we're having issues with cars too, right?
Yeah.
The president says, I want a deal where they put zero tariffs on our cars and we put zero tariffs on their cars. In Mexico, it seems to be different. I want a deal to carve out a certain part of the market, and I think also for auto parts to protect them here. That they're not the same kind of philosophy.